Hey everybody, I'm Christian, and this is Toto. Well, technically, he's not actually talking yet, but trust me, that changes quickly. Now, Toto, I do have to ask you something. You're about 2.5 years old. You're a tiny little dog. Why do you sound like a retired British professor who critiques tea for a living?
I've actually been asking myself the very same question. Why this voice? Why this accent? Why this overwhelming intellectual presence trapped inside such a remarkably handsome little dog? Frankly, I believe some mysteries are simply too powerful for modern science to explain, though I could ask Christian something similar. The man enjoys writing music, despite what I can only describe as a deeply complicated relationship with proper pitch. Still, we do enjoy having a little fun around here, and honestly, that's part of why we're doing this. Technology has become unnecessarily intimidating for a lot of people. So if we can help people laugh a little, relax a little, and feel more comfortable learning something new that matters.
About 1.5 years ago, my father passed away. And honestly, it's still difficult for me to talk about sometimes. He was an exceptionally brilliant man, truly brilliant, a doctor, an avid reader, the kind of person who always seemed to know the answer to just about anything. And for probably the last 10 years of his life, I kept trying to get him to use different apps and different tools, ways to communicate more easily, share photos, video call, simple things. And he absolutely refused, not because he wasn't capable of understanding them. Honestly, he probably could have mastered them faster than I ever could. But I think eventually I started realizing it wasn't really about the technology itself. I think he was simply exhausted by how fast the world kept changing around him. Everything constantly moving, everything updating, everything becoming more complicated. And I think part of him just didn't want to keep relearning the world every few months. And now, I'm watching my mother starting to struggle with some of those same things too. Physically, and even cognitively at times, little memory issues starting to creep in. Frustration with apps changing, buttons moving around, scam messages, confusing emails, things that most people probably don't even think twice about. And honestly, watching both of them go through that really stayed with me. Because these are incredibly intelligent people, and yet the world increasingly makes them feel like they're falling behind. And that just never sat right with me. That's really where all of this began.
And I do think that's something people underestimate sometimes, how exhausting it can feel. When the entire world suddenly seems designed for everyone except you. One little update changes everything. Buttons move, apps change, passwords become more complicated. And eventually people stop feeling confident and start feeling embarrassed instead. And honestly, that's heartbreaking, because needing a little patience or a little help doesn't make somebody less intelligent. It makes them human. And I think that's something Christian understood very personally, watching his parents go through it. That's why we try to keep things simple here. A little humor, a little patience, a little less judgment, and hopefully a little less fear around technology.
And I think that's really the part people don't always see right away. This isn't just about technology, it's about confidence. It's about independence. It's about somebody not feeling embarrassed to ask for help anymore. Because once people start feeling left behind, they slowly start pulling away from things. Phone calls become frustrating, emails become stressful, online banking feels intimidating. Even simple little updates suddenly feel overwhelming, and then eventually, people stop trying. That part really bothered me, because these are people with decades of wisdom, life experience, stories, intelligence, and value. And somehow the modern world started making them feel invisible just because technology moved too fast around them. So what we're trying to do here is slow things back down a little, make things simpler, friendlier, less intimidating, and honestly, just make people feel comfortable again.
The truth is, that's another reason we wanted this to feel different from most technology platforms. We're not trying to make people feel foolish here, quite the opposite. We want people to feel comfortable enough to ask questions, even the really simple ones, because usually those are the exact questions nobody else takes the time to answer anymore. And once somebody starts feeling embarrassed, they stop asking altogether. That's when people really begin feeling isolated. So if we can create a place where people feel supported, where they can learn at their own pace, laugh a little, and stop feeling judged every 5 minutes, then I'd say we're doing something worthwhile. And frankly, the world could use a little more patience right now anyway.
So whether you're here because technology feels frustrating sometimes, or because you're caring for somebody you love, or maybe you just want a place that feels a little more patient, a little less overwhelming, we're really glad you're here. Everything we're building, the lessons, the reminders, the workshops, the outreach initiatives, it all comes back to one simple idea. Nobody deserves to feel left behind just because the world changed around them. And hopefully, with a little patience, a little humor, and maybe a very opinionated British dog, we can make things feel just a little easier together. Thank you for being here with us.